What is up, guys? Jake from One Hive here with our next base breakdown video. As always, Rex is with us. Rex, you and I suck. We have not done these often enough. We've been slacking, man. What's going on?
Hey Jake, not much is going on. I don't know. I don't have an excuse, so I'm just gonna blame it on you.
I guess it is my fault. I've been busy, and I guess I've not been available to you to do this. So I'll take the blame, man. I'll take the blame.
No, I think it's just because you're releasing so many different videos, and there's just so much publicity and interest in the channel now. It's just taken off.
It's doing great. Everybody seems to love it. And they love these, and that's why I feel bad that we haven't done one in a while. And we're going to sort of give them a two for it. People have really liked these type videos. Plus, they're loving this Lavaloonion strategy. So we're going to break down a base that is a good candidate for Lavaloonion. So get us started. Talk about this base. First of all, tell me this, Rex, before we even go to this specific base. What do you look for in a LaLoonion? Because really, I'm not good at that yet. So tell me, when you're scouting a base, what are you looking for?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Jake. It's a good way to start us off. Now let's just assume that you have max lava hounds, you have max camps, you have their max CC, and you have max balloons. So what are the easiest ways to Lavaloonion? There are, if you search on YouTube and you try to scour, I mean, I personally scoured YouTube for different information when I was trying to learn this strat, and there seems to be two different ways to Lavaloonion. The first way is I like to call it your spam strat. It's where you spam, you watch Clash with Ed, and what you do is you just drop your Lavaloonions, a string of loons behind it, and then a whole bunch of minions behind it, and that seems to work very differently. The second way, and this is the way we're going to be covering today, is your more surgical strike. And that's what I like to call it. And this is more Chinese style / base analysis, base breakdown style. You're not relying so much on your minions and loons to do the trick, but you're really calculating what your loons are capable of and what your lava hounds are capable of.
Right.
And so we're going to go ahead and talk about the second way. And the second way, you look for 4 different air defenses that are in different compartments. So as you can see here, this one air defense is here, this one air defense is here, this one air defense is here, and one here. And I'm glad you're highlighting them. These 4 air defenses are not covering each other. So bases like this, a very common war base right now is called the General, and that base is very susceptible to Lavaloonion attacks because none of the air defenses are covering each other, and they're in 4 different compartments.
Right. When you say covering each other, what you mean is there's no overlap. Like you'll see this range of this air defense does not reach the second one. So if there was a lava hound on that bottom air defense, that top air defense can't hit it.
Exactly. So when there are 2 air defenses that are close to each other, let's say, for example, this guy for some reason happened to put both air defenses right here. This would be not a very good lava hound base for the surgical strike method. There are different ways to actually to destroy those air defenses, making it a very easy lava hound. But just for the sake of the second method that I'm talking about, you don't want them this close together.
Okay.
Okay. So what you're going to be doing is it's very methodical and it's very easy. And once you get into the swing of things, once you understand how much tanking your lava hound can do, it's actually a very fun strat to execute. It's completely different. You need a very different mentality from your hogging, any go wiping and all that. The things that you look for is completely, I want to say, original and unique.
Okay.
Okay, so sometimes you're going to be using 4 lava hounds, but most of the time I prefer to use 3 lava hounds.
Now,
and 1 golem.
Do you bring, when you're doing this, because we have access, obviously, to max troops, would you opt for a max lava hound or a max golem if you're doing the 3-in-1 strat?
That's a great question, and this is what I told tell my clanmates. If you have level 4 golems as a Town Hall 9, then take your own golem and take a max lava hound in your clan castle.
Okay.
However, if you don't have max a level 4 golem, then you might consider taking a max golem and then 3 level 2 lava hounds.
I guess it could also depend on how hard the queen is to get to, because that's what you're using that golem for. So if she's a relatively easy to get to, possibly go with a lower, or if she's a very difficult queen to get to, you might opt for that max golem.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so what are the steps? And the steps are very easy. The first thing you're going to want to do is lure the clan castle. Okay?
Right.
And as you're luring the clan castle, you have to make a judgment call. Is this clan castle lure incredibly easy, or is it this base just happens to be really easy?
Right.
Let's say if the clan castle was right here.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's a little bit more challenging, and the clan castle lure is not very easy. And so what you want to do is take out one set of air defenses, one wizard tower, and a few other defensive buildings as you're getting a lure. And the way you would do that is spend one lava hound. So let's just, for this argument's sake, let's say it's over here. There are 2 locations that are very optimal for your lure. This location you don't want to be doing because the archer queen is right there.
Right.
That leaves these 3. And you can pretty much, you can do it either or. There's kind of pluses and minuses, and you have to really analyze the base. I probably would go in this direction.
Okay.
But you can also go away from the queen. This is also a viable solution. But the reason why I like going in from the next to the queen is if you're able to destroy this mortar, anything close to this line, below this line, because you're going to be sending in your golem in this direction, that's going to keep your golem and your heroes that much alive that much longer, because these defenses are not going to be firing at them.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. You want to try to help them, make it easier on them to get into that queen when it comes that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, makes sense.
So I would say, again, the clan castle's right there. We're under the impression. So that means you're going to send a lava hound here. You want to send probably 1 loon there, 2 loons here. These loons, you want them to go this direction, and probably 1 loon here.
Okay.
And that would be what I like to do. And this is not a necessary rage, but I do like to rage.
Yeah, I was about
just
to
to
say.
ensure that. Just to ensure all those defenses really go down, and then the lava hound and your loons travel and destroy. The most critical part of this step is to make sure this air defense goes down.
Yeah, that's the comment that I've usually made as I've been showing you guys as replays in the war recap videos. Is that seems to be a theme, especially when you're doing it or Che. It's that dual purpose. You want to take out an air defense, a few surrounding buildings, and get the clan castle. And you guys are even willing to use a lava hound, 5 or 6 balloons and a rage to do that. But you're really getting a lot done with that what you're spending there.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Jay. The problem, if this clan castle is right here and you try to do that method where you send in a lava hound and the loons, because of the lure being so close, if this guy has wizards or anything that does a ton of damage really quickly, it could be problematic to you because your loons might not get to this air defense.
Right, just on you too quick, basically, and balloons take so long to drop those bombs. It could screw you, and then if you don't get that air defense done with a lava hound, balloons, and a rage, you've pretty much hamstringed yourself. Probably not going to get a 3-star.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you need to be careful. You have to watch the CC for where it's at and calculate the amount of travel time, whatever their CC holds.
Okay. Let me pose a question to you real quick. In the raid that we're going to watch Keo do on this, he does not take that method. He just goes ahead and simply gets the clan castle lure with a few balloons on that bottom cannon. Now, could it be viable to use the lava hound method with a rage and balloons from this side? Now, I know you're not sort of helping your kill squad over here, but You're still probably going to get the clan castle lure at the end of that. Uh, Possibly, I'm assuming you would, but would you even try that, or is that a no go?
So if this clan castle was probably closer to this side, I would definitely consider it.
Okay.
This is a good way. You're actually helping your kill squad off because if you were to come in from this side, I'm gonna delete these.
Okay. I'll get rid of mine.
Can you?
Yeah.
You're gonna be sending a loon. You're gonna be sending a lava hound this direction.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna send loons to take out these defenses.
Right.
You want all these, and with that, you can actually send in a couple loons on top here and take out these two defenses as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way the lava hound travels, this air defense is going to be locking on. So it's kind of a gamble. If this cannon or whatever was up here and it was out of range, definitely when you holo, definitely use a loon to take it out.
Right. Yeah. Sort of the same rules apply for those good trades.
Yeah, that eliminates the path. Loons travel much slower than hogs, so that eliminates the reason for them to even travel up there. That's going to be beneficial to you.
Okay. So it's a possibility to do it that way. We won't dwell on it long because it's not the way Keo did it. It's probably not the way you would do it either on this base. But it was just a question I thought people might have. So continue on though.
Yeah.
We've got the clan cat. We've done what we got to do. We get the clan castle lord. Sort of move us on to step 2.
Okay. Step 2 is, and this is where you need to decide if you need a golem or not. But your second step is to take out the archer queen and to take out another set of air defense and wizard tower.
Okay.
And so what you would do here, and this is something you have to practice. Oh, sorry, we got to take a step back. After you get the lure, you're going to have to bring the lure out somewhere, probably in this direction.
Okay.
You can anchor with an archer here, bring him all the way out, or anchor with an archer here. The one thing you do need to practice is your loon drop to kill the clan castle troops. So I like to take 3 barbs and 2 archers. A lot of the times you only need 1 archer and 4 barbs, or sometimes you even need more depending on what the troops they have in their clan castle is.
Right.
But you need to clump them up and get ready. The thing that you really need to watch out for, and I've made this mistake, and I know everyone else makes this mistake once in a while, is where the closest defense is. If their clan castle troops are here, you need to look, is this the closest defense or is this the closest defense?
Yeah.
And that'll change whether your loons are going to go up this way or down this way.
Right. I've seen that happen so many times. That's a perfect example. Let's say you have cleared all this out. You've done that method, and the 2 that you circled are the closest 2 defenses. I've seen people bring them out here. They get a nice little bunch here, and then they'll drop their loon right here. Well, that loon, if this is the closest defense, is going straight there. That might work. Now, if they've got them bunched up over here, let's say more towards the middle, and it's a little closer, and you drop your loon here, it might take off this direction, completely miss the bunched up clan castle troops. I've seen it happen a bunch. So really, in your mind, you need to draw a line between where they're at, where you're dropping your loon, and the closest defense, and make sure you're doing it at the right angle.
Yeah, exactly. And a pro tip, this is what I like to do. Make sure you don't want to be anywhere in this area. And the reason why you don't want to be in this area is because there's a fine line between this defense and this defense.
Right.
What will happen is, say the troops are right here, the enemy castle troops are right here. And so you end up dropping a loon here to try to kill it, and the first loon goes this direction. And so you recalculate, drop the loon right here, but this loon goes this direction.
All of a sudden it's closer. Yeah, all of a sudden it's closer to the other one, and you've gone both directions and not killed your clan castle troops. That could be costly.
Yeah, so with your last barb or archer, always go towards one side or the other. That'll help you make it easier for you to calculate. It'll make it better for you to just, if they're right here, it's really easy. You just drop right here and they'll line right and pop it.
Right. Okay, so take them out with you want to bunch them up, bring what you need, take them out. I've seen most of the time you guys end up having to, they got wizards especially, drop a few minions to help clean that up. So we've done that. Move us along.
Okay, so if Level 5 wizards will be taken out by one single loon. If they have level 6, they're gonna have a sliver of health left. So you might need 2 balloons, or you need a few minions, like you said.
Yeah.
All right. The next thing you really need to get good at is deploying your golem and your wall breakers. So this one, obviously, the easiest path is your golem to go over here. So after you do that, the biggest thing that you're going to be careful is those wizard tower not destroying your wall breakers.
Right.
And so instead of deploying it right there, a better point might be right here or even just over here. Because what's going to happen is this wizard tower is going to lock on, and so you want to drop your wall breakers somewhere different to where your golems are.
Right. We did a video about that. Just offset them, and it's tricky. You've got to be mindful of the buildings because wall breakers and golems included are going to path around buildings. Just be mindful. Have a plan for it, and you'll be surprised how more often it goes well, as opposed to where you're like, oh, I didn't even think about it. I forgot to plan where I'm going to drop my golem, where I'm going to drop my wall breakers. More times you're going to see them get taken out by that splash damage, and then your golem sitting there beating on a wall as opposed to going in and tanking and drawing the queen out.
Yeah, exactly. And so what you got to learn to do very quickly is to make a funnel. If this base didn't have a natural funnel for you, which it does, you would have to take out these barracks. But in this one, I don't think you really need to. All you have to do is drop your golem, your wall breakers, and drop both heroes very quickly behind them.
Yeah.
Preferably your Barb King first, so that as soon as this Archer Queen hits your golem, the Barb King will be aggroed. He's going to go straight for her.
Yeah.
So the Barb King is there just to tank for your the Barb King, and the golem are just there for the tank for your Archer Queen.
Okay. Would you back up your heroes with any type of wizards? Do you bring anything like that, or is it just the hero's job? They got to get it done.
So at 220 camp space, it's a little bit tricky if there are a bunch of buildings out here, and we've all seen these bases with a million buildings on the outside. You will need to take a wizard or two to create your funnel.
Yeah, you got to make the funnel, otherwise your heroes could just walk around the base, and then again, 3 stars unlikely.
Yeah. Another option is to use minions to create your funnel, and that's probably better, but you have to pay attention to where the archer towers are, where the air defenses are, and to see if there's any coverage.
Right. Make sure they're out of range.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So do you no rages, no spells for the kill squad there for the queen? Just get them in there, use the hero's abilities, get the queen dead, and hopefully take that next air defense out?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it depends. It's kind of a base by base scenario. If this queen had it was behind another layer of walls, even 2 walls, then you might want to consider either a jump or a rage for this kill squad.
I was going to say, if she was hard to get to. Now, this is a pretty easy queen to get to because really she's going to come so far out. Once you're in this compartment here, once you've broke through that first wall, you've got her. She's coming out. So really this is she seems central, but it's a pretty easy kill on the queen here in this base.
Yeah, the way the queen is located here, it's perfect for you because your Barb King is going to go straight for her. Right after he kills her, he's going to go for this air defense.
Right, he's going to be standing on top of that air defense. If you use his rage, he's going to take it out in probably 2 swipes with his barbarians backing him up. So I agree, it's a perfect setup.
Yeah. Okay, so what we've managed to do with our first 2 steps is eliminate all the defenses here. Probably not that expo. We've eliminated all the defenses here. And so the rest of the base is very easy. All you do is send in another Lava Hound with loons targeting each of the defenses. Lava Hound, each of the defenses. And boom, you're set. This should be a 3-star. And what you're going to do is, after you send in your Lava Hound, back it up with minions behind.
Right, and I'm assuming you're dropping rages here and here for your balloons as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what that's one observation I made on the videos as I've been sort of covering these because the viewers really like them, and I'm trying to learn this strat as well, is that it seems to me that most of the time if your first 2 steps, step 1 down here with the first air defense in the clan castle, and step 2 with the archer queen in the next air defense, if those 2 steps go well, you've got it. This is simple. This is spam and rage, push LaLoonion style that everyone's done before. Everyone pretty much gets. It's not. It's hard to mess that side up. The first two sides are much more tricky, much more methodical, and take a lot more skill, in my opinion.
Yep. So now let's. I'm going to quickly talk about some base. Let's say this base had some different variations. Let's say this wizard tower was over here and not over here in front.
Mm-hmm.
So the way you're going to deploy your lava hound in this case is from this angle. And you're going to send in your loons this way.
Gotcha.
Because if you send in your lava hound from this angle, it's not going to tank the wizard tower, and if that wizard tower locks onto your loons,
mm-hmm.
then and kills your loons, your raid is done for.
Right, that's a good point. You want your lava hound tanking more than just the air defense. Obviously, it's going straight to the air defense, but in a perfect world, it's tanking everything for you. It's tanking all the surrounding buildings that are firing. So your balloons are free. They just go in there, drop their bombs, move on.
Yeah, and that's a good point to roll into our next little section. Is what do you deploy first, your lava hound or your balloons? And this question really comes up a lot.
Yeah.
So back to what I was saying, there's two different types of raiding. Your spam method, you want to be spamming your loons first, with your lava hound coming in behind it after. Mm-hmm. And this is the reason why you're doing that is because you have a lot of loons and you have less lava hounds in this scenario. And so it doesn't really make that big of an impact if your first two loons go down. But in the more of a surgical strike that I'm talking about, you want to make sure your lava hound's doing all the tanking. All of your loons are precious because you're going to be using a composition with 3 lava hounds. That's already 90 camp space.
Right, that's a bunch.
Okay. You're only going to be using 10 to 12 minions. And that's very little for a cleanup crew.
Mm-hmm.
That usually leaves between 18 to 20 balloons. And each of these balloons are crucial because you're going to be using 5 or 6 for the lure. Yeah. That leaves your main army to only have between 12 and 13 loons.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you've got to have them. I know what you're saying. And I've gone back and I've seen, I think what you said before we started, we were talking, is probably right. It's probably, it just depends on. It depends on how many loons you've got. It depends on how the travel time, in my opinion. If your balloons really have to travel a ways to get to the defenses, if you've got one of these bases where there's a ton of trash buildings out here and you really have to drop them out here on the dirt, so they got this whole way to travel. I think there's a lot of variables that go into it, but I think your point is well received that you got to take care of your balloons. The lava hounds honestly should be exploded by the end of the raid. If they're not, you've probably taken too many or you haven't let them do enough tanking. You want those lava hounds to take the hits, and the lava pups can be crucial in helping with cleanup as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. If there are a lot of trash buildings and your only deployment points are on this dirt, then of course you're going to be wanting to send in your loons first.
Yeah.
But it depends. And no one does this. If the archer towers were all inside the core here,
yeah,
then of course you're going to be wanting to deploy your loons first because there's nothing on the outside to hit your loons.
Yeah.
And so it really depends on where the archer towers are because they have the higher range.
In a perfect scenario, regardless of where they would be, you would deploy your troops in a fashion to where the lava hound is passing the balloons just in time when they get in range of any defenses that can shoot at them. Now that's easier said than done, but I guess that's what we're both saying is that you want that lava hound doing all the tanking, but you also don't want it sitting there taking 4 or 5 shots from a couple of archer towers in an air defense before your loons are ever in even on the first defensive building they're targeting and begin to drop bombs because that's wasted.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, Jake.
Yeah, so it's tricky.
So now, yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying it's tricky, and it's going to take practice, and it's going to take base identification, just like all the attacks do. You've got to be able to break down a base and evaluate it, and that's one of the parts that's just going to take practice and figuring out what works.
Yep. And so we kind of just briefly touched on the spells. We're going to be using one rage here, one rage here, one rage here. That leaves one extra spell. You can use it here if you need it for your kill squad, or you can actually opt for a heal spell. Your loons are going to probably be taking some damage because of the air bombs, maybe some side damage from the wizard tower. And that could be a heal spell here or another rage, and it really depends on the base.
Yeah, and don't forget we got these Teslas to deal with. So good point. Maybe another rage to help a good group with the Teslas, or a heal to just sort of keep some balloons up while the Teslas or Expos are pecking at them. Either one would be a viable option.
Yeah. And so one thing that I do need to say is, okay, I've seen some different types of Lavaloonion raids, and in the strategy that I talk about, I attack all 4 little hubs.
Yeah.
I've seen some strategies where people will attack 2 hubs that are on opposite sides, and then send in a lava hound. And then the lava hound, after this air defense, goes all the way across to the next air defense. I don't prefer this method because the lava hound travels much quicker, and so the loons are going to lag behind. And once this lava hound passes this Tesla is going to be hitting the loons.
Yeah. No.
Whereas if you have all 4 air defenses down, the way the lava hound mechanics works is they travel from the closest defense to the next closest defense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So they're going to be continuing to tank for you over the Teslas, over the Expos, and usually your loons are following behind, and you'll see this work successfully for Keo's raid.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, in the sake of time, let's move on to something that Keo does that's different than what we've talked about here, and that's he uses hogs. He's sort of incorporating this, trying it out in his LaLoonions, and it has been successful. And Shu did one last war that really highlighted when I think that is a great technique. And the viewers that watch the recap might have seen it. There was let's pretend that this particular air defense is in this empty location right here. Like Rex and I talked about, they're sort of covering each other. He sent hogs in a couple of ways to funnel them into that, and then dropped a heal that actually covered the hogs in the whole area, on both air defenses. Now, Keo has done it both ways. He's done it with just like this one. He sent hogs in here, gave them their very own heal, and hogs in here and gave them their very own heal, and he's been successful with it. But that method does have some possible downfalls, like Rex and I were talking about before we started. Spring traps can screw you up if you don't know exactly where they're at, different things like that. But when they're bunched up and there's a couple of air defenses together, I think that method really shines, and it really exploits that base well.
Yeah, I think in Keo's raid, he only does the hogs for this hub.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think that is a very good option. Shu's raid was perfect. If you have exposed air defenses, even if they're on the very outer perimeter, then go ahead and hog those.
Yeah,
and that's a very good option as well.
You bet. Or like sort of like this one here on this side, if you can path your hogs to where they're going to go there. They're going to take that out. They're going to take these out. Maybe come in from this side, and you can get them there. It could work too. There's not a lot of in this area right here. Not a lot of likelihood of spring traps for this right here. So if you can get your hogs there, it can work. There's just a few more risk as opposed to what Rex was talking about. When you know that the lava hounds are going to take all the air mines, all the air bombs. They're going to set off all the traps for you and do even more tanking. It might be a little safer in some scenarios.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Keo does, like you said, does a good job. He takes out just this section right here with hogs and a heal. So that was his option, and it worked well in this space.
Oh. Well, one of the nice things about using Lavaloonion, and you won't run into too many time issues unless your CC troop kill goes very, very poorly. And that's just attributed to lava pups and minions doing so much damage.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they move so quickly that the travel time is a lot is a lot smarter and a lot shorter.
Right, and because of the balloons and lava hounds, you're not going to have a group of minions or lava pups getting taken out by air traps. All the air traps have been triggered, so it's a nice system. Once the air defense and the defenses are down, the cleanup usually goes very smoothly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we ready to watch the video, Rex, or is there more you want to talk about, or where are we at?
No, I think this video is not the method that I highlighted,
Right.
surgical strike. I think you could see those videos in some war recaps that I've done previously.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no one did it this war, and we're all experimenting. But Keo does a very good raid here, and I think it's a good way to show the capabilities of Lavaloonion with some hogs.
Right. This is a good precursor to a how-to, I guess I would put it. A lot of tips, a lot of techniques that we talked about in the video. There will be a how-to video eventually on the Lavaloonion, but it's just not, we got to have more attacks. We got to have more testing, and because there's different methods that are emerging. We don't know, me, I was telling Rex before the video started, I'm not even good at really identifying the bases that are really prime for it yet. So it's just not there yet. I will do it when it's time, when I've got all the information. But hopefully this will sort of tide you guys over, give you guys an opportunity to take some of these tips and try them for yourself. Maybe you guys learn some tricks that we don't even know. So we'll start the replay, watch what Keo does, and then we'll wrap it up. Like we talked about, this is an easy clan castle lure, so he didn't go with the technique of a lava hound and balloons. He just dropped a few balloons on this cannon, takes the cannon out, gets the clan castle lure. So right there, mission accomplished. He's going to drag them over to the corner, like we've always talked about, always seen. Nothing's changed there. He did go ahead and drop a minion where he knew that there was nothing that could hit it, to do a couple of things, start creating his funnel like we talked about, as well as immediately start dragging the clan castle troops up. So he opts to bring them all the way up to the top. That's fine. That basically everything's out of range here. Really, the goal right now is to get that witch where she's going to be killed by the crashing balloon. That's the thing when they've got a witch. She's so slow. You've got to get her piled up and get it done. First balloon goes down, takes out a good chunk, but as you see, the witch is still there, so he's got a problem here. The skeletons are still going to keep spawning until he gets her taken care of. He goes ahead and drops that second balloon almost as a distraction and to take out the two wizards that were left, and then just sort of spams a few minions to help finish cleaning up there. Then you see right there, boom, the golem goes down. Look at the offset on the wall breakers. Perfect. Opens it right up. They get in, just like Rex talked about. The king runs immediately over there. Couple swipes. Queen's dead. Right there. He's right on top of that air defense. It goes down. Mission part 2 accomplished. Now he's doing it like this. He's spreading the lava hounds on the bottom, backed up by balloons, rages, and then right there you see the third one. Before that balloons ever get in range, he's got the hogs deployed with a heal. They're going to go in there, take out that last air defense. And at this point, just like we talked about, look at how little is left to stop this. You got a few Teslas. It happens fast. Once you start your swarm, it happens really, really quickly. That last X-bow goes down, and now you're going to see the power of the cleanup with these the minions he's dropped down here, the lava pups. Like I said, ideally, that second lava hound would have been busted into pups, and they could have helped the cleanup, because right now that lava hound is 0 help on cleanup. He does such little DPS. But Keo's got more than enough troops left. Queen's still up. Minions, lava pups, they're just going to swarm this base and take it out. So just a really, really nice raid, and really in the style, like Rex talked about, that I would call surgical, as opposed to any type of just a swarm attack. What do you think, Rex, man? He took it apart pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like it was a phenomenal raid. It was very unique, very different, and it just seems like a very simple solution to taking some of these bases out, where this exact base didn't have that particular problem, but if there's a double giant bomb in the core that's really hard to hog, but you can find exposure when they have 4 separate compartmentalized air defenses, I think it's a good strat.
Yeah, I mentioned it on the history video. I really, this is, it sort of frightens me. If you guys get this down, I don't know what kind of base at Town Hall 9 you can build that can't either be relatively easily hogged at this point by us, or LaLoonion, if you guys get the strat, secured, fleshed out, and consistent. I think it's going to be a problem for people.
Yeah, I agree. At Town Hall 9, I'm finding now that people are becoming more and more acclimated to the skeleton traps, that every raid can be a 3-star raid, despite how developed the Town Hall 9 is.
Yeah. Yeah, and see the hog attacks and these LaLoonion attacks, they're ignoring walls. So really, this big wall buff where people can get walls so much easier is sort of getting negated as well. I mean, it's crazy. It's being developed, and it's still in its. And I wouldn't call it a consistent strategy just yet. Obviously, some of you guys are getting really good at it, but I wouldn't bet the farm on every attack just yet, like I would with hogs and some of the other ones that we've been working on for 4 months. But I would be frightened to see this where it's at in 4 months. I really would.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I enjoyed it. I promise you, viewers, we will try to do this more often. We've been slacking. Rex blames me. I'm going to blame him. But we're going to try to get back in the saddle and do some more of these for you guys. Anything you want to say before we go, Rex?
Yeah, please, we love the comments that are flooding in, so please comment on this video below. Tell us what army comp to break down next for you.
Yeah, good point. Good point. We will, if there's something that you say, hey, I want to know a good Valk base or something like that, we'll be glad to keep our eye out for one. And when we see a good one, we'll do a breakdown for you. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, Jake and Rex from One Hive doing our best to help you guys suck less.